Welcome to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka Dave Zeman. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews and interviews. And let me tell you what a show we have today. So let me start off with the news. First up this morning, I was anticipating, later on today, technically in Melbourne, Australia, about CinemaCon, the Disney presentation, which I'll talk about in a moment. But the news of today, Star Wars Celebration in LA, tickets have now been announced of what day it's going to be released to obtain. Now, let me just sort of get the details. So we've got, it's going to be May the 6th, midday in LA, PT, Pacific time. That will be LA, Pacific time, midday. That really equates to Thursday morning, which is technically the 7th for Melbourne, Australia, about 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't mind. I will be up at that time rocking those tickets. So the 6th of the May is the technical PT Pacific time of when Star Wars Celebration tickets go on sale. Now, if you are extremely lucky, let me tell you how lucky you're going to be. Really lucky to get the best ticket, which is called Jedi Master VIP. The American cost for that ticket is $1,210.99. That's right. So $1,210.99. That equates in Australian to about just under 1,800 Australian dollars, just under 1,800 Australian dollars. So that is a big time ticket. But also the other tickets that are up for grabs, so there's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday tickets available. So they are ranging from, so the Thursday ticket is $76 if you just want to go to Thursday. That's a pretty good price, to be honest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the single days are $91 per day. And all of these are not available yet. They're coming soon, May the 6th in America, May 7th for Australia at the same time. That's how it works at the time zones. But Thursday is the cheapest, to be honest. That is going to be the best one to get. That or... Well, actually, I'd say Thursday. Thursday will be the day of the 50th anniversary panel. That's my prediction. Friday will be the, Starfighter presentation. Obviously, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a bit more obtainable for people to get time off. But Thursday, $76, Friday, $91, Saturday, $91, Sunday, $91. That's all in American prices. But that's a big, exciting news. May the 6th can't come quick enough for someone like me. Anyway, so that is one part of the news. The next news, going to CinemaCon, which is in Las Vegas. I think it's come to an end now. CinemaCon is for technically the cinema owners, previewing films coming out and stuff like that. Sort of getting the owners excited what to sort of really, have their establishments have. It's CinemaCon. I would love to go to CinemaCon. I would probably choose that over Star Wars Celebration, only because it is exclusive to the event. Nothing against Star Wars Celebration. It's pretty much, if you're there or not there, you can be there inside your internet screen, or you can be there, which you really get the whole atmosphere of the whole sort of feel of Star Wars Celebration. There is some exclusive things there, but it's not really, screenings or ads or whatever. It's more sort of like products, which is fine. But anyway, so the what I was talking about was the CinemaCon. So CinemaCon has revealed about 17 minutes, the first 17 minutes of Mandalorian and Grogu. People there seem to be really excited about these first 17 minutes. That's what's been reported. That's what all was shown with the Mandalorian and Grogu. And then the big piece of news that we're all waiting for, Star Wars fans, Starfighter pretty much got a mention. All it said was it's coming out in 2027. That's it. Nothing. I think there could have been an image displayed maybe there, but we seem to have not received it on the internet as yet. Possibly it could be there now. I don't know. But a real basic, it's coming out in 2027, Starfighter. More about the Mandalorian and Grogu at the CinemaCon 2026, which is sort of good because the film needs a little bit of a push and a shove at the moment. But yeah, so that is the CinemaCon news. To more news, speaking of Mandalorian and Grogu, the final trailer has just hit the airwaves. Check it out. I'm going to do a review of it in the review section coming up. And to more news, and the final piece of news, another great piece of fan film art, if you were to say, fan film, not art, but fan film. The very successful, I think, at the moment, Beggars Canyon. They call it Star Wars Beggars Canyon, and the new one is called Shadows of the Empire, and I will be doing a review along with the Mandalorian Grogu final trailer later on in the show in the reviews section. Anyway, so that is the news, big time at the moment. Anyway, so now let's get into views. Views are my story ideas where I say and mean that I accept the story for what it is from start to finish, no matter what. It's still a great story, Star Wars. I'm not being spoon-fed, or, I'm taking it and this is how it should be. No, I accept it because I love Star Wars. It's just, whoever owns it, owns it. It still takes me on that journey. Anyway, so this is more of a viewpoint in a view rather than a story idea, which is sort of partly about views. It's my point of view. But I think personally, today's news at CinemaCon, having not much mention, gets me a tad worried because this is pretty much the only real CinemaCon time, because the next time it comes around, which is this time next year, it will be just before the actual movie release, which says to me there won't be nothing greatly revealed unless they play the whole movie at next year's CinemaCon. That's Starfighter. But I think Starfighter seems to have, not really put itself out there, in a great opportunity. If there's any criticism I have with Disney, I'm not a big Disney hater. I think Disney's fine. It's not it's more of a kid sort of brand for a lot of us, Generation X. But Disney holds the biggest brands in the world at the moment. We've got Marvel, we've got Star Wars, Lucasfilm, blah blah blah. But I think it's just a bit of a concern that there's no presentation for the Starfighter. Going to take a Mandalorian peel. But you know what? Beautiful. I just think it's a missed opportunity. That's all it is. I'm just a little bit concerned, that's all. Not massively, not like it's out of control. It's still really early on at the moment, but I would have loved to have seen something, just something. But anyway, the whole Disney thing at CinemaCon revealed some other things, but with Starfighter, not much at all. But anyway, that's my viewpoint. Let's get now into the reviews. Reviews is two things this week. It's going to be, the first thing it's going to be is the Mandalorian and Grogu final trailer. I'm going to give this final trailer 7.5 out of 10. I think it's consistent with the last trailer, which is a great trailer. Like I just thought it really brought to life what the movie is, and it really sort of said to me it's cinematic. It said to me the adventure, the Star Wars feel was there. I was on board. I was on board with Mandalorian and Grogu in Japan. It fell a little bit, when they showed the first trailer, which was not the best trailer. It was pretty basic. Then they had that Super Bowl ad, which I didn't hate. I thought it was actually okay, but it was not something that we were all looking forward to. That sort of simple. But the last two trailers, really on board. And this particular one, the final trailer, gives us a bit more sort of in depth to that cinematic feel, has a bit more concentration on Grogu, the child himself, and the music even in this trailer was great. It's using sort of classic Star Wars, a bit of Mandalorian, and just some other stuff, whether it's been used in the movie or not, or just something separate orchestral, I don't know. But it was a 7.5 out of 10. That's great. That's for the Mandalorian and Grogu final trailer. Anyway, check it out. It's online now. Anyway, the next piece of review is Beggars Canyon, Shadows of the Empire. The last two, I think I've given 11 out of 10. But this one is gone down to a 9 out of 10. Now, that's nothing bad to say. The only... Look, the look of the film, the seamlessness of the film, so you can sort of get on board with the story. The story itself, great. It was just a little bit too subtle for too long. It seemed a bit more like a filler. It doesn't need to have big high stakes action, but it was just, there was nothing that was really luring me in to be completely interested in the actual fan film, The Shadows of the Empire, Beggars Canyon. But still, it was a good, simple story. The end really did make up for the whole sort of storytelling in this piece, because it gives you sort of like, oh, now what's going to happen type of thing. Not a cliffhanger, but sort of like it gets you intrigued. But Beggars Canyon, the 3 I think there's out now, top tier, amazing. I would have loved to give this one 11 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, but I'm going to give this one a bit of a 9 out of 10, only because it just seemed a bit filler sort of feeling. But it's still on track really high. 9 out of 10 for Beggars Canyon. Anyway, now let's get into, that's the reviews. Let's get into the interviews. Interviews is usually the questions I get in my last particular video. I don't really have an Instagram or anything like that, but while I'm on the tip, subscribe to the channel, The Force Awakens. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week. I should also say I was going to review a movie that was non-Star Wars today. I actually got the dates wrong. That's coming next week. It's a particular film next week. There's actually 2 films I'm going to be giving you a review to next week. One is called The Beast, which is an advanced screening of a film. And the next day, Michael, which is Michael Jackson, I'll be going to see that. And I'll be giving a review of that from just a Star Wars kid like me watching that on this channel. That will be next week. But anyway, let's get into the questions. Again, subscribe to the channel, The Force Awakens, 3 or 4 times a week. I'm here. No Twitter, no X, nothing like that. Just send your questions of any sort, deemed appropriate to the channel, to my last actual video on YouTube. The first question, Michael from Werribee South. The big screen return. Will The Mandalorian and Grogu, slated for May 2026, successfully transition the Mandoverse to the big screen? Many fans on platforms like Reddit are debating if it can cross the 700 million mark at the box office or if Star Wars fatigue will set in. Look, I think it's going to be cinematic. I think it's going to be great on the big screen. The last two trailers really proved that. I think it's going to be fantastic. Whether it gets to 700 million or not is going to really depend on the repeat views and how good the actual story is, which may entice the Star Wars fans who've, been betrayed by Star Wars somehow and go and see it. I'm excited. Actually, it's now my third anticipated film for this year. I know it's a bit low for a Star Wars fan like myself, but I've got Michael, which is the movie, and Disclosure Day being my two top ones really excited for. And then it comes The Mandalorian and Grogu, along with many other films. But yeah, I think it's going to be fine on the big screen. The next question by Michael from Werribee South is Disney era consensus. Disney era consensus. Now that it has been over a decade, how does the quality of Disney era content compare to the original prequel trilogies? In my humble opinion, the consistency of Star Wars is still there. It may not be exactly how I want it or how others want it, but it's still there. I could easily tell you what you could have done in the originals, what you could have done in the prequels, what you could have done in the sequels, but you know what? It's still consistent. I think the Disney era has given, if anything of highlight, a real beautiful canvas to look at. And the story is a bit bold here and there, but still classic, and that's in my opinion. Anyway, so the next question is from Michael from Werribee South. Ahsoka Season 2. Following the cliffhanger of the first season, fans are questioning if we will see the debut of the Legends character Abeloth or a Force Ghost appearance of Kanan Jarrus. Thoughts? Put it simply, Kanan Jarrus, he was a big star in the Rebels animation. I think we'll be seeing him. But the character Abeloth, no. I'm going to leave it as that. The next question, and the final question from Michael from Werribee South. Legends vs. canon. Are certain characters or storylines like Grand Admiral Thrawn or the Mandalorian Wars handled better in Legends expanded universe than in current canon? Look, I can tell you that there is a great piece of Star Wars storytelling that is of a beginning, I think, of a game that's online. It's been there for about 5 or 6 years. It was where the actual, I can't remember the name of the. It was a game, something with games. It was a gaming sort of thing, and at the end there was these two Siths, battling these two Jedis, and then one of the Siths said to the other Sith, being back on Korriban, which is a Sith world, struck him down. The Sith struck the other Sith with his lightsaber and said, "Welcome home, Master." And I just thought that was a great piece of, just the look and the story that could just, top a lot of stuff that's actually canon. But I think Legends has a lot of stuff in it that you can, just pick from to use in canon. I think there's a lot of sort of things that are just multi-layered, things that are just a bit impossible because they would contradict or they would then a bit too far-fetched. But I do like Legend stuff. I think it's good. But I do concentrate much more on canon because I like the official storyline. I'm into that. To me, that is the storyline that I follow. But I'm actually a lover of going on to the database on StarWars.com, even it was about 10 years ago, and just checking out where the characters would just lead into. they sort of deviated in some things from what we got in the sequel trilogy, but it's interesting. I think Legends has a lot of interesting stuff, but there's a lot of far out type of stuff there too. Canon can be a little bit, mild at worst and maybe not the way we all wanted it to be, but it's still the Star Wars storyline, and that's canon. Anyway, so that is the show for this time around. Subscribe to the channel, The Force Always, 3 or 4 times a week on YouTube. Like and share if you want to like and share this particular video. And until next time, my friends, keep rocking.